not guilty. That's the decision a jury reached this week in the murder trial of 20-year-old Raul Valle. He was acquitted in the deadly Shelton house party stabbing. Now, 24 hours later, one of the jurors tasked with deciding his fate is speaking exclusively with News 8 reporter Zuri Hoffman. Zuri's live with us now with more on what that juror had to say today. Zuri.
Well, James Stolman says he never served on a jury before and really had no idea how big of a case this was while he was in the courtroom. That's because jurors have to be off the grid while the trial is going on. He tells me despite all of the opinions and emotions surrounding this trial, he believes he and his fellow jurors made the right decision.
Nothing like on TV.
A very real case with Raul Valle's life on the line. Stolman says jurors had to leave all of their emotions outside the courtroom.
They really emphasized how important it was to leave the whole sympathy thing and our emotions out of it and just really try to concentrate on the elements that were trying to be proven.
Jurors felt like those elements were not proven, finding Valle not guilty on the most serious charges of murder and manslaughter in the 2022 stabbing death of Jimmy McGrath. But the process to get to that conclusion wasn't straightforward. On Monday, jurors told the judge they couldn't make a decision.
They sent us back in, and again, we talked, we reconsidered things, and some people, and no one compromised and voted on something they didn't really believe in. And so the changes that happened were really for the right reasons.
Was that the case for you? Did you end up changing your mind?
Yeah, a couple of times.
You did?
Yeah.
And why was that?
Just initially after hearing, it could be just the definition of a word. One word can change the meaning of something, and so there was so much to consider. You know, what we saw, what we remembered, what we didn't.
The defense team only calling one witness, Raul Valle himself.
That was the emotional part, and I'm glad he did testify because it gave a different perspective.
And despite the facts of this case,
there was no question that the elements they proved, he did that. He had a weapon, and he did stab 4 people.
Stolman said jurors had more to consider when looking at sending a man to prison for more than 100 years.
It was all about, did the prosecution prove every element of the charge? And we just felt they didn't.
When I asked Stolman about his message to the victim's family,
I hope they understand that even though they might disagree with what we concluded, that we really did the best we could. And we tried to follow the rules and the law and apply that just the way we should have.
Yeah, now Stolman says this was not an easy decision. Jurors spent more than 11 hours deliberating and going over this case, ultimately reaching the verdict of not guilty. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Zuri Hoffman, News 8.